as we like to do, we start with our best and worst of the day. Nick, what do you got for us on your best and worst?
Yeah, we'll start with the best, and I have to go to Tevin Jenkins' press conference and his impersonation of Andrew Billings' move out of nowhere, how they try to get ready for the cadence, and how Andrew Billings, he says, one of the best in the league in terms of trying to draw guys off sides, how they shift the line right then and there. But that's the big thing that this Bears offense is working on, is just trying to get the cadence matched up with what, Caleb Williams is doing, what the offensive line needs to hear from him. But how he said that move with, just that inflection, I thought that was one of the better things that, I saw today. And then the worst thing that I'll have to go with, I think, is another day of not seeing Nate Davis out there with the starting offensive line unit. It's obviously a guy that dealt with a lot of things last year. And so, when he didn't have the season that maybe a lot of Bears fans were anticipating, I get it. But now you're kind of going into this, new era with Caleb Williams, and you're still not seeing what presumably would be your starting right guard out there with the starting offensive unit. So I'm going to put that as my worst right now.
Just one clarification on that. He did get a few team reps today at right guard. I did see him out there. Yeah, he did. Right. It was not a ton, so it wasn't like obvious. So there was a little bit of a ramp up there, and it did seem like Matt Eberflus talking after practice expects him to be ready to go for training camp. That when he was asked that, he basically said, "Yeah, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be."
In the warm-up period, Flus and Nate Davis were having a little hangout session. Nick, you're nodding your head, so I guess you saw that too. Mm-hmm. For whatever it's worth, the Flus was showing his ability to connect with his players. That's what he was doing, and Nate was in a stretching stance, got out of the stretching stance. They talked for a while. So for whatever that's worth, the Flus I thought was very impressive today. Which, Hoge, you want me to go here? Best and worst?
Go ahead.
So, look, my best of the day was Jalen Johnson. It was a very quiet day out there, I thought, for the most part. But listening to Jalen, who we got to talk to today, he's just such a credit to that locker room. And I love his competitive spirit. And I love I just like a guy who sits there and pauses and tries to give you an honest answer. And I asked him about, his, Rome being here, and more so Keenan being here, and Caleb, is that, kind of upped your energy level? And he's thought about it for 1 second. He's like, yeah, it has. And he gave a really detailed answer about competing against Keenan, how he does things that are not predictable, and it's helping him make him better. And so then I just, why it's my best is this, we heard yesterday, iron sharpens iron from Montez Sweat. And I think that's going to happen here. When you have better wide receivers, it's going to help the back end too, what they're competing against every day. I think it uplifts Jalen. I think it uplifts Tyreek. I think it uplifts Kyler. I think there's a lot of good there. My worst, Caleb today had a bunch of good throws as per usual. We're used to seeing him fire it all around the field, which he did, but he was also picked up by Tremaine Edmunds. And then, Tevin talked about how, the offense has got to, is behind right now. And there's a lot of talk about cadence right now. So it's not necessarily, it's a hard day to pick out a worst. There wasn't, I thought it was a kind of a nothing day, but if I am picking something, it's just right now, I think it's pretty obvious. The offense is, has a ways to go, not surprisingly, to where they need to be.
I'm going to stay on brand here with my best, because it was one of the best punting practices I've ever witnessed with my own eyes, with Tory Taylor just flipping, gap wedge after gap wedge right inside the 5-yard line. Almost every single one of his punts, he had the back spin, then flip to the front spin on the second bounce. Like, that's a deadly combination. I don't know how he does it. It's unbelievable. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I think the only person who was more excited than me about that was Herb Howard, who was really excited about the punter today as well. My worst is just a couple guys not practicing that we saw out there yesterday. One a little bit more concerning than the other, but both Braxton Jones and Cole Kmet were not out there today. Cole not too worried about. I did see him get dinged up yesterday in yesterday's practice. I was almost surprised that he finished it just because it's June and it. But we all know Cole. He's going to battle through things. So he did finish practice yesterday. Pretty good sign. That's nothing to worry about. But I was not terribly shocked when we got out there today and I saw him on the bike, because why push it right now on June 5th? It just doesn't really seem like the smartest thing to do, depending on what it was. So not too much concern there. Braxton Jones was kind of the bigger one for me because I didn't notice anything yesterday, and I didn't even see him today. Like, we saw Cole on the bike. Did you guys see Braxton Jones at any point? I didn't see him.
Nope. Did not see 70 out there, but Flus did call both those precautionary in the beginning. Yeah. So hopefully that's all that it is.
And I don't think this had anything to do with him missing today, but Braxton was in the middle of the skirmish yesterday. And he was coming off the field and he was like talking it up. Like, what you guys want me to do? Hold him up. I doubt that there was something there, but you never know when he tweaked whatever he tweaked or whatever's going on that he missed practice. That it does, considering how light they are at that position. I hear why this is your. It makes sense why this is your worst, Hoge.
Yeah, well, and I'm like you. I didn't really see anything today that was terribly glaring. So we do this best and worst segment to kind of just share what was, in all honesty, the best thing we saw today and the worst. Sometimes there's different levels to how good the best is and how bad the worst is. So really nothing too bad today. Yeah, I'm going to give you an honorable mention one in honor of Greg Braggs, who is not on the show today. But if he had been there, he would have been very excited about the fact that the Hard Knocks people were in the house and standing on the sideline the entire practice and starting to go to work. Some of the producers from the show were on hand doing their scouting for training camp, and it just seems a little bit more real seeing them there.
We all silly like the mayor.